Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA season is officially upon us. Today, we're talking all about the Phoenix Suns going on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors. My favorite picks are on the way. It is Austin from Calling Our Shot. I'm amped up. The NBA is back. Now, normally every single morning, you can count on a best bets video for the NBA in your inbox if you are subscribed to the channel. If you aren't, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. But today is a little bit of a different anomaly because there's two games on, so I figured I'd do a separate video for each game. If you want to figure out my favorite picks for the Lakers and Nuggets one, it was actually posted right before this one, but I will link it in the pinned comment, the description of this video, and at the end of this one. So go check out that one, see what I'm betting over there. And last year, I will do a short recap here. We're at 56 units, a very profitable year. If you are a $100 better on all our plays, you're up over $5,600, over $5,000. Pretty solid. Let's hopefully do that once again this season. I obviously gave a little bit of advice in that Lakers and Nuggets video, so I won't take a lot of time on this, but let's have a great season. Let's wipe the slate clean and absolutely dominate this NBA season. Now, before I dive into something, I actually want to dive into my PrizePicks season-long entry, which I placed on PrizePicks. I'll throw it up on the screen. Look, I think we got a good chance here. If you want to tail me on PrizePicks, you certainly can. I think this one has a good chance of smacking low-key, but hopefully it does smack. And in addition to that, on PrizePicks, they have a free square live right now for Stephen Curry to score 1 point. I'm not very smart, at least, but Stephen Curry's probably scoring 1 point. Of course, if you want to, make sure you use our code COS or the top link in description. You get a 100% deposit match up to $100. I'll show how I'm using the Stephen Curry free square later on in this video. And speaking of free squares, we actually have another one, and it is on Sleeper for Klay Thompson to score 1 point. He's going to be firing up the ball a ton, and I certainly think he will get at least 1 point. We have 3 different free squares on this slate, so I'll throw all of them in the description down below. I talked about the Underdog fantasy one in that Lakers versus Nuggets video if you want to see how I'm using that. But without further ado, let's dive in. If you want to let me know any things you want to see in the videos, of course, let me know in the comment section. I'll be reading all you guys' comments. But I'm just happy the NBA is back. Let's have a great season. Lock in, everyone. My first pick of this game was technically my second pick of the season. Will be a man by the name of, we already said his name. I'm taking Klay Thompson. I'm taking his over 19.5 points, minus 115 on DraftKings. Personally, I'd play this about 20.5, and there are some narratives coming into this game. Number one, Klay Thompson reported on Monday that he's far apart from the Warriors in terms of contract negotiations, and he could be entering free agency this upcoming summer. Now, easiest way to get a contract extension is to ball out, and I anticipate him to be firing up the ball, especially at home, which we'll talk about in a second. But with that narrative aside, there's also some bad blood here with Devin Booker. If you remember at the beginning of last season, Devin Booker and Klay Thompson Klay Thompson got ejected because he was flashing, the 4 for the number of rings he has. So there's a lot of incentive here for Klay Thompson to come out here and play pretty well, and I think he certainly will, especially at home. Now, look at Klay Thompson last year, averaged 21.9 points per game. And then you look at the home road splits were ridiculous. Klay averaged 24.4 points per game at home on 44.7% shooting compared to just 19.2 points per game on the road with just 42% shooting. The splits were crazy. He was much better at home. You never really saw us back him on the road unless it was an A+++ matchup. But look, with the full first, we talked about how many injuries Klay had to play through. He returned, 2 years ago, but only played like 30 games, was limited. Then he returned last year, was his first full year. They even have a minutes restriction at the beginning of the season. But with the full season under his belt, I anticipate him going back to his normal minutes, and he should obviously play a little bit better than he did last year, which still was a pretty good season for him. And we've seen him have success against Phoenix. You look at his last 4 games last season, he scored 2, 19, 29, and 38 points, and he actually scored 20-plus points in 21 of his last 27 home games last season. Now, the 29 and 38 were at home. The 2 and 19, the 2 was the game he got ejected in. And then those 2 were both in Phoenix. Like I said, it kind of played exactly to what I just talked about. Klay Thompson, much better at home than he is on the road. Good for us. He's at home for this game. And you look at why did I abbreviate it to the last 27 games? That's an awfully weird number. Well, that's because those were all the home games he played on from December all the way until the end of the regular season. I got rid of the games in October and November because, like I said, they entered the season with a minutes limit. You saw him playing 20 minutes, and I know Klay Thompson's playing more than 20 minutes. If he doesn't play more than 20, something happened wrong. Because you look at this game, what they're coming in here with. Draymond Green is out. You saw Jordan Poole, he's no longer on the team. He's in Washington. And so I think they're going to need him out there. Chris Paul, the new addition, will be here. But I like this matchup for Klay Thompson to come out here and ball out. We've seen Klay. If there's anything we know about Klay Thompson, he could be 0 for 12. The man's still firing it up. And while Draymond Green does help him get better shot selection, I do think that he'll be needed on this offense. Stephen Curry will be the number 1 defensive focus for the Suns, who I don't anticipate being a great defensive team this year. But Klay Thompson's that number 2 option on this team. Andrew Wiggins will shoot his, but he'll have his job. His main job is trying to stop Kevin Durant on the other side of the court. I really like him to come out here and play pretty well. Klay Thompson, notoriously a very good, home player. We already talked about. I think he shoots 17-ish, 20 times. With a guy like Klay Thompson, a guy shooting a lot of threes, we know he can score 20 points in a quarter. If he gets hot, he could hit this in the first half. We've seen that before. But also Klay Thompson, I just anticipate him being a little bit more aggressive than people might anticipate. I think this line's a little too low. If it was like 21.5 or 22.5, no chance I'm taking it. But a 19.5, I really think is just a soft line for a guy I'm pretty confident will shoot, 17 times. And then we're just banking on the guy shooting the ball well, and he normally does shoot it well at home. Also, weirdly, he came off 2 bad preseason games where he just clanked it up. So he's not shooting the ball great those last 2 preseason games, but he also played 32 minutes in one of them. So I just think he plays well. I think he shoots the ball pretty well tonight in this primetime game against the Suns, a team with a little bit of bad blood. Obviously, the Suns are a team that has championship aspirations. So do the Golden State Warriors. This should be a close game. Klay, we roll with you. Go knock down some shots. Now, as I talked about before, Sleeper has a free square for Klay Thompson, so you don't need him to score 20 points. You only need him to score 1 point. And here's how else I am pairing that Klay Thompson free square. A reminder, on Sleeper, use our code COS to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. It's free coin. Take advantage. The other legs I liked, Kevin Durant, more than 1.5 rebounds in the first quarter. That's not his full game line. First quarter, he'll be out there a lot. Stephen Curry, more than 5.5 assists. A little bit juiced on the books, but with Chris Paul and with Stephen Curry, those guys will have the ball in their hands a lot. Hopefully, Steph's feeding to Klay, and we're knocking 2 birds with 1 stone. Next one, Devin Booker, more than 7.5 points in the first quarter. Not a full game line. First quarter, D-Book notoriously plays the whole first quarter. He might play, 10, 12 minutes. Devin Booker ain't passing to a lot of people. He'll go out there. I think he has a good matchup here. He won't have Wiggins on him either. So I certainly think D-Book can go out there and score some points. And the last one, a leg that I did consider was Kevon Looney, more than 13.5 rebounds plus assists. I'm not scared of Yusuf Nurkic, not really a guy that stretches the floor a ton for the Suns starting for them. And we know Looney, when he's out there, the guy just grubs boards. I mean, he grabs a ton of boards. He can get some assists too, which I think is a low line for him. So look, Draymond's not out there, so someone else is going to have to grab some rebounds. And Looney is just such a great rebounder per like 48 minutes or per 36. This guy, if he plays the 25, 30 minutes, he could easily hit that in rebounds alone, but also not a very underrated passer too. So look, that's my sleeper entry. We'll roll with that. And then, like I said, PrizePicks has a free square as well for Stephen Curry to score 1 point. He's probably doing that. Here's how I'm using that. And a reminder, you can use our code COS or the link in the description for a 100% deposit match. Steph Curry, more than 0.5 points. Bradley Beal, who's in my season-long entry, more than 19.5 points. And Kevin Durant, more than 4.5 assists. Now, Durant's assist was a little bit juiced on the book, so I like it here. I think it could go up to 5. But as for Bradley Beal, why is he in my season-long entry? It's because I do think that Bradley Beal, while he is coming in here with ankle injury, I'm not too worried about that. I look at the guys like Durant and Booker. Those guys are taking the number 1 wing defender and guard defender away from Beal. I think Beal's going to have a great matchup. He's either going to be defended by Stephen Curry, who has improved defensively since entering the league, or Chris Paul. One of these guys is going to have to guard him. I just think that Bradley Beal will have a ton of opportunities to score on this team, which is why he's in my season-long entry. And God forbid if something happens to Kevin Durant or Devin Booker injury-wise, Bradley Beal is going to easily average over 21 points per game, which is what the leg we took him in our season-long entry. So I like Bradley Beal on this game. I think he has a good matchup here to score 19.5 points. Just didn't want to lay a unit on him just yet. I'd rather trust Klay Thompson, a guy I can guarantee you will be shooting the ball tonight. He will be shooting it. But those are my favorite picks for this game. It's going to be a great NBA season. As always, let me know what you guys like in the comment section down below. Let's absolutely dominate this NBA season. We can do even better than 56 units. A+ job, but we've got a long season, so don't force 12 picks into one game. It's not worth it. We have tons of games coming on. Just on Wednesday, we have a ton of different games the whole season long. I don't know how many NBA season games there are. I should have looked that up pregame, but you'll have plenty more to bet on, so you don't need to force a ton of action into the first game and potentially lose your bankroll if it's like a blowout. But that's my favorite picks. Klay Thompson, we're rooting for you. Lakers Nuggets video, boom, go check it out on the channel. If you want to go check out our second channel, we'll be going to Wembanyama's first game on Wednesday. Go check out that second channel. Go show it some love. We got a lot of cool videos over there and more coming on the way. But Austin signing out. Love you guys. Let's have a great NBA season. I'll see you guys in that Lakers versus Nuggets video. I'll see you then. Peace.